Hey guys, Ognajteff here, and welcome back to another episode of our Minecraft Civilization Challenges Egypt, and we got ourselves a little boat. So, yeah, we've been doing some trading up and down the River Nile with our reed boats here. This is the sort of thing they would have had in ancient Egypt, and, yeah, so they'd just go up and down the Nile River and or trade with the ports along the Mediterranean Sea, and, honestly, I'm just really proud of this little boat. Like, it just brings me immense joy for some reason. But moving on a little bit here, we got ourselves a little bit of a farmstead now. A couple houses here for some farms or some farm hands, plus that little hut back there with the supplies I need to actually do any farming. And then up the hill, I've been working a bit more on the village. So as the village grows with trade, we sort of got to expand outwards a bit more. We got a few more houses and, more importantly, a market stall now. And, of course, as you can see, the roads are starting to expand outwards as well. Sort of future planning and ideas here. Let me just remove the sign. There we go. And, yeah, so a few new houses in the old Mati Buto style, aka the Per-Wadjet style. And, yeah, then we got our market stall here. So, in keeping with the sort of themes of this village, I'm trying to be a bit more decorative, a bit less, like, basic straight line sort of deal. And, yeah, so we got ourselves a bakery, we got ourselves a pottery place, and a weaver. And, yeah, I'm trying to improve incrementally upon the older sort of stuff we did in the last village. But, speaking of the last village, the mines there were absolutely cursed. Every time I started a video while doing some mining, it didn't turn out well for me. And I'm going to attempt to do that now. Here's hoping that it doesn't go poorly. I am low on materials, specifically diamonds, and I also am in need of iron. So, guess it's down into the mines I go. I've already started a shaft, although didn't actually go far. So here's hoping I find something good. Wish me luck. See you guys if I find anything. So, down in the mines, got my pickaxe swinging from side to side, and, well, gotta light up the darkness here, gotta make sure I don't get snuck up upon, and we're mostly here looking for, like I said, diamonds and iron, although there's actually something else, and that is coal. Coal will actually be probably the single most important thing for me to get, as I think I have, oh, I don't know, like 3 pieces of coal left in a furnace, and another, like, 3 left in a chest. So, yeah, I'm going to need a lot of coal, but I also need to make sure I'm not about to get blown up by any creepers or get shot by skeletons or anything. If everything's secure, yep, I can do the coal mining now. There we go. So, yeah, mostly just thinking along the lines of what I need right now. It's mostly just these raw resources and materials so I can continue to make tools, because a lot of the behind-the-scenes grinding apparently takes a lot of materials for your tools, because I keep going through them like crazy. So, moving on a little bit here, there's this just little area, and down this ravine I see some wood. So, yay, a mine shaft. Those usually have chests, or at the very least a bunch of materials for me to find, and sometimes maybe some mobs or something. So, down here, immediate priority, start lighting everything up, just making sure everything is good, and that's it. Well, okay, so we'll just explore the other side. It's not like there's just one single line and that's it, right? See, there's a bunch more stuff over here. It's like a dead end. With nothing in it. Well, that sucks. Well, I mean, I could always go back up, but there's also this little hole down here, so I'm going to grab some materials and get ready to go down. So, here's hoping that I light up the place and make sure I don't get snuck up upon again. And okay, that's deep. Okay, yeah, so it looks like there's just a massive chasm down there. Honestly, I didn't bring a water bucket, so I don't think I'm going down there anytime soon. And I can see 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 creepers. No. materials that I'm interested in. Yeah, no, I'm gonna call that one no. And this is why torches and coal are so important, because I've officially run out, but thankfully this is one of those, what's the specific cave type called? It's the one with all, like, the vines and the moss, the really beautiful caves with the free lighting from the glow fruit and lava that doesn't burn everything to the ground somehow, but I'm not going to complain. Free light sources. But I will eventually need to come back here and sort of fill up the spaces. I don't want to get ambushed somehow while working. And, yeah, at this point, it's mostly just trying to find some diamonds. Let's see, what do we got around here? Preferably want to stay towards the lit areas. Let's see, down here. Oh, that looks like another... Maybe this is the bottom of the one chasm, then. Let's see, over here. Nope, nothing. And oh, diamond. Did I just walk past that? Yes, I literally just came down from here. I just walked past this. Oh, yay, diamond. Okay, so this is the first diamond we've got at Per-Wadjet. So yay to that. And oh, look, iron here too, which is all important. So let's see, not gonna jump down there. What else do we got around here? I guess I could go down and explore this area. Alright, yep, I'm going down to explore that area. And, ooh, nope, not that way. Okay, I just plugged that up, and let's go find something else. Once again, I didn't bring a water bucket, so I'm gonna have to rely on, finding a stairway down, and, ow! Ow. Stupid skeleton. Okay, that's it. You've asked for it. Let's get down here, and 3, 2, and oop. Okay, didn't mean to do that. Alright, the charge is gonna have to wait. Now charge. Go! Ah! There you go. Oop. Okay, just gotta be careful about that. And here we go, another area just full of the, like, whatever it's called, glow fruit or whatever. So this, ooh, diamond, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna start using the silk touch one, just gather them up here, because if I can get a looting, or not looting, it's, what's the one that does the, ooh, there we go, extra, boom. Okay, but what's the fortune, that's it, fortune enchantment. And speaking of enchantments, that may or may not be foreshadowing what we're doing this video. Maybe a little later. Let's see, moving on here. I've been walking around the cave. I found a couple diamonds, but not really much. And the one big problem with this sort of area is it is absolutely just full of corners and materials, but you keep getting lost, and yeah. Ooh, gold. This is actually another thing I'm going to need for today's episode. I need at least 3 blocks of gold's worth of gold, and I've already have some, and ooh, perfect. I just thought it was the 2. There we go. Make sure we got it, and whoop, of course, water. Great. Alright, and come on. Oh god, there's another one in there, isn't there? Yep. Stop floating, you're supposed to be a heavy metal. Well, not heavy, but you get the point. You're supposed to be not able to float. Alright, ooh, more gold over here. And wait. Axolotls! Axolotls! Yes! Did I walk by you guys too? Oh, look at them. They're so cute. I wish I could give them the fish, but can you even feed them fish? I don't know. Unfortunately, these are cooked fish, so I don't think they take them either way, but oh, they're so cute. I also didn't bring a bucket of water, so I can't collect one. Oh, well. I guess they get to stay down here in their little axolotl paradise. The axolotl caves? Paradise caves? I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, let's see if we can't go find sort of some other materials here, and then probably call it quits and head back up to the surface. So for the first time ever in a video, we've actually done a mining thing without it absolutely backfiring on us. We found a couple diamonds, we got a bunch of coal and iron, all's great. And I'll probably be heading out a bit more later, and yeah, so I guess the next thing we gotta do is the actual focus of today's episode, and that is the Temple of Wadjet. So, in this case, if we come up here to the Temple Mount, I've built a couple staircases now, just for some connectivity. And, yeah, I'm just going to stay away from that guy. Yeah, so as we come up here to the temple, we're going to, well, I've got all the supplies here. We are going to build a, lovely little complex here. So, we've got it all sort of mapped out in a way. I've got all this here. So I guess the next big thing we gotta do is just start doing a little bit of basic time-lapsing and terraforming. Gotta clear out the trees and the shrubbery and sort of build up the cliffside a little bit so it'll... Well, it doesn't need to be flat, but it's easier to build when it's flat, so I'm building it flat. Otherwise, yeah, so maybe I should explain a little bit about who Per-Wadjet was and her place in the Pantheon and a few of the various myths surrounding her, just so we can get more of a baseline for the actual goddess we're building a temple to. So, let's say, as I prepare to start building and all that, I tell you a little bit more about her. The winged cobra goddess and patron of the Nile Delta and protector of the pharaohs, Wadjet, is simultaneously one of the most recognizable and important deities within the wider Egyptian pantheon. Dating back to worship in around Per-Wadjet during the Pre-Dynastic era, she is one of the oldest gods in the pantheon, with much of her early worship centered around her as a local guardian spirit. Later, after the unification, her main capacity was as one of the dual protectors of Egypt, along with her sister, the vulture-headed goddess Nekhbet, patron of Upper Egypt, and together they were known as the Two Ladies. Wadjet's symbol, the uraeus, is a coiled cobra often associated with the crowns of Egypt, the solar disk of Ra, and various other protective charms, and it is amongst the most recognizable and potent of all the Egyptian symbols, alongside the Ankh or the eyes of Horus and Ra. Speaking of Ra, certain myths depict Wadjet as one of Ra's children, who was sent below the dark waters of Nun to find the lost gods, Shu and Tefnut, and return them to her father's court. In doing so, one version of the myth states that Ra wept tears of joy that would become the first humans and rewarded Wadjet by placing her upon his head and granting her the duty as his personal protector. In this capacity, she acts as one of the eyes of Ra, alongside Sekhmet, Hathor, Bastet, and a few other deities, all of which seem to be connected within the mythology as aspects of one another, being both arbitrators of Ra's judgment and protectors of the pharaohs and Ra in particular. The other major god that both Wadjet and Nekhbet are connected to is Horus, as they were his guardians during the usurpation of Set. After the murder of Osiris, the goddess Isis took her infant son out of Upper Egypt under the protection of Nekhbet and were given a place to hide within the delta by Wadjet. In this capacity, she was both a guardian to the gods and a nurse to the infant Horus, whom she raised alongside his mother until he was old enough to battle Set for the throne of Upper Egypt. In one such battle, Wadjet and Nekhbet flew into combat alongside Horus to drive off Set's followers, as the two leaders fought. Upon Horus's eventual victory over his uncle, the two ladies were honored as protectors of the pharaohs and a symbol of a united Egypt. So really quickly as the time-lapse starts here, I just want to do a quote-unquote lies segment. So this is in reference to what extra credit / extra history would do, where they would give you a little companion piece to the main history series where they'll explain little embellishments they made, or how they sort of twisted the narrative a little bit to make the story better, so on and so forth, and just fill in details. So I thought I'd copy that idea, because I think that's actually a good practice for sort of a animated historical quote-unquote segment. So I just really want to start here by saying there's a difference between history and mythology. In history, there is a pool of facts that exist that you can pull from to form a narrative and an interpretation and try and prove that thesis. In mythology, there are multiple different versions of the same story that you can pull from, and none of them are incorrect by definition, as all of them represent a different interpretation upon the story. For mythology, it is really important to ask who's telling the story, where are they telling it, when are they saying, and who are their audience, as well as what they're emphasizing, what they're de-emphasizing compared to other versions of the story, and so on and so forth. You really have to tackle these ideas. Same thing with history. But When it comes to mythology, it's a slightly different beast because, like I said, there can be multiple correct interpretations based off different versions of the same story. With the story of Wadjet, I decided to emphasize Ra as the parent of Wadjet, but other versions emphasize Amun specifically as her sort of parent. I chose this because Ra connects her directly with the other Eyes of Ra, Hathor, Sekhmet, Bastet, and a few others. So, in this case, I decided, because it had a bit more connective tissue, I'd tell a particular version of the story rather than a different version of the story. So just a little thing to keep in mind when you're listening to mythologies is, who are they using as sources? What versions of the stories do they listen to? So with that said, let's get into the music. And there we go. Just put the hat on and the pants, and we are officially done. The little shrine here. Oh, wait, actually, wait. There we go. Now we're done. Gotta get the decorations in. And there we go. We got ourselves a little oracle. So, actually, interesting little factoid. In the Temple of Per-Wadjet, during the sort of Ptolemaic period, there was an oracle inside the temple. So I thought I'd include that sort of reference here with the papyrus sort of quote-unquote books that we have, as well as the sort of papyrus makers and the temple and all that. So yeah, that's going to be the little theme here. So the whole idea between Wadjet is she was the patron of Lower Egypt, so the Nile Delta region, which main export would have been, and I seem to have forgotten some here, would have been paper in the form of papyrus, which is one of the various forms of paper alongside parchment and then pulp paper later on. But yeah, so it was a bit of a weaving sort of deal, so I thought I'd include that sort of reference here in the city proper. Let's see, got everything, I think. Got the shears. Yep, everything else is organized. I can now pack that all up. Okay, there seems to be an Enderman somewhere. I'll just ignore him. But yeah, I thought I'd include that sort of like oracle thing, so that'll be our enchantment setup as the oracle. Yeah, so that is all done. I kind of want to look around here from a few different angles. I mostly stayed to the one angle during the actual building process, so let's sort of check this out from the sidelines and from sort of down below here, which is why I built it on the edge, so that you can sort of see it as you're coming into the port. I thought that'd be kind of cool. I also got to check out the actual sort of village area, see if it's visible from there, and yeah, there it is. Yeah, look, I think that looks fine. A little flat on the sides, but it's not the worst. And you also have that sort of center segment that looks like a sort of hooded cobra, which I thought was appropriate on account we're doing the cobra deity here. So, I hope that looks right. I mean, it looks good to me, but for all I know, I might just be alone on that statement. If you guys think it looks good, tell me in the comment section below, but all we really got to do now is just light this thing up, and really just build this sort of road connection, and then we're all done this build, and I think we'll be done the episode at that. Alright. But as I was saying, just gotta do the little bit of lighting here, because the last thing I want is for the local worshippers to come up here to get their sort of fortunes told at the oracle, or to pray to the protection goddess, and suddenly a creeper spawn and kill them. So, yeah, that might be a little bit on the ironic side. So let's just try and make sure that's all good. There we go. And with that, let's see. How's the inside looking? Yep, so a couple of torches here, one by the totem pillar thing, and everything else seems to be settled, and we already got our crop starting to be ready to harvest. And also, I thought it was kind of funny. I left it in the video, or at least I think I'm going to leave it in the video, that at the very end of the time-lapse, the thing pops up and it blocks all view. So thankfully I was recording on my own side instead of just Nicole's. Whoops. Okay. Anyway, so at least I got to keep that. Anyway, like I said, I think it's literally just the road segment here, and then we can go down to the village and check to see how it looks from there, and I think we'll be all done with this episode. As well as, unfortunately for me, the end of sort of an era. Because with the building of the Temple of Per-Wadjet here, we're going to start moving on to the next phase of this city. That being sort of... sorry, just trying to line this up, make sure it's lined up, and... oh, I'm actually one over. There we go, this works. This works here. Yeah, so we're sort of at the end of an era. We're now moving on from sort of an era of just Madi Buto in of itself to now a mixing of the cultures. Because by this point, trade will have sort of introduced us more and more closely to Nakata culture. So we're going to start seeing a fusion of Nakata and Madi Buto from this point forward. So I'll be looking into maybe doing a few things there. So at this point, it's mostly just cutting down a couple of these trees, which I think are going to block the sight lines here. This one and that one in particular. Otherwise, it should be visible from the village, I hope. Based off of the sight lines. And, I mean, I could always use the wood and the leaves here for future buildings. Ooh, yes. So, with that said, we can shear the sheep. Thank you. And then sort of chop down this layer of tree here. Ooh, another apple there as well. As I was saying in the other video, with varied diets and health and all of that, that's very important. There we go. And yeah, we should be good. Let's go see if this temple looks good from the village here. Now, I don't suspect it'll be seen from this lower area, so we're going to have to go up top to around where the well is, or... yeah, 'cause this tree's going to block my house. There we go. Yep, you can just see the very top of it. That sort of like secondary altar area I built, which is why I built that, honestly. But it all looks good to me. Okay, I just thought of one last thing we need to do before we sign out. And right now, it's probably time we start thinking about the next episode. So for the next episode, I said we're going to start blending some cultures. I'm going to work on a little bit of industry preps over there, and maybe do some stuff on this hillside here. And really sort of integrate the Nakata arrivals into our new village. Or, new village? Old village, whatever. So yeah, that would be sort of next time's idea. But for now, we are just going to put a little sign here, and it shall read, the Temple of Wadjet. Queen of the Delta. Or Nile Delta. There we go. Boop. And done. And with that, yeah, I'd like to thank you guys all for watching. I guess that is the end of this episode. So, I guess I'll catch you guys all next time on our Minecraft Civilization Challenge. This has been Ognajteff, and I'll see you guys then.